K.K. Surendranathan, President of Atomic Energy Retirees Association, Kerala. Sri K.K.P. Nair, Secretary. Sri B. Joseph, Treasurer. And Dr. T.R. Govindagutti, sir. Mr. Krishna Prasad ji, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of IRL India Limited, I wish to put on record my sincere thanks. So therefore, my presentation summary will cover about rare earth elements, the discovery, then end use of individual rare earth elements, and then by major industrial use by category wise, then 3 major inventions or major developments on rare earths, and then I will cover global production during 2019, then reserves, an amount of, that is quantity of rare earth used in some selected products, then major sources of rare earth elements, and about India, what do we have as reserves of REE, then about my own company, history of Indian Rare Earths Limited. Earlier, SOL name was Indian Rare Earths Limited. Now we have converted to IRL India Limited. Then rare earth value chain and products of IRL, and then one slide on prices of selected rare earth elements in oxide, then future outlook for rare earths and Indian market and requirements. I'll be briefly covering all these areas in my presentation. I will take you through the presentation. Before I start the presentation, I just raise this question. Our Govindagutti sir has already touched this area, that can we think of our life without a smartphone? Since Govindagutti sir has already muted all the mic, I presume the answer must be without smartphone, we may not be able to survive in this because it has become a lifestyle for us. And therefore, anyone who uses a cell phone or a laptop, iPad, or he watches a TV or drives a hybrid car or has even light fixtures at our home is therefore using rare earth elements. A smartphone is packed with at least 40 valuable elements available on the earth. Out of these 40 elements, 9 elements are rare earths only. These rare earth elements, they touch many aspects of our modern life and culture and lifestyle. Today's current swipe and lifestyle devices includes, the rare earths are there at the heart of each of these devices. If we go to the, what are these rare earths? Why we call it as vitamin of modern technology? The rare earths are a set of 17 chemical elements in the periodic table. All of you may be aware. The lanthanides consisting of elements lanthanum to lutetium, starting from the number 57 to 71, plus scandium 21 and yttrium 39. They are named rare earths because of their low concentration in minerals which are scarce. There are many school of thoughts why this name has come rare earths. But majority of the school of thought, they say they are neither rare nor earths, at least the way we use the term now. In the 18th century, when they were discovered, people misunderstood rare to mean new, and the earths was because before we understood electrons and atomic weight, we classified by their properties, that is gases, metals, non-metals, and earths. In fact, coming to these uses, it broadly we can classify into 2 categories. One is process enablers. They are not actually contained in the end product, they facilitate, they just enable the process. And second one is product enablers. It is inbuilt into the material that we are using. And this one slide will give a rough idea about the discovery of rare earth elements started with discovery of yttria by Gadolin, 1794, and goes on all the 17 elements. By the time we discovered this promethium, it was 1948. In fact, one English physicist, Henry Moseley, was the first to confirm in 1914 that lanthanide series must consist 15 members, no more or no less, including promethium, whose existence was not confirmed until 1944. Now, if you look at the individual rare earth elements, I have categorized on the left side all the 17 elements. On the right side application, there are many applications. For example, lanthanum major application is battery alloys, metal alloys, auto catalyst, petroleum refining, and many more uses. Cerium, again, it goes into same battery alloys, metal alloys, auto catalyst, and mainly used as a polishing powder and glass additives. Praseodymium and neodymium, basically they are magnet material, and mainly major share of these two magnetic materials are used in magnets, that is permanent magnets. And promethium, of course, it is a radioactive material, does not occur naturally on Earth. It is artificially created for applications. And samarium, again, it's a magnetic material. It is going into magnet. Europium, it is mainly used as a phosphor, that is red and blue colors in our screens. Gadolinium, ceramics, nuclear energy, and also medical. Terbium, again, used as a phosphor, and a small quantity goes into the magnet production also. Dysprosium, a crucial element for rare earth permanent magnet. Dysprosium also goes into the permanent magnets. Holmium, sometimes some small quantity is being used, plus nuclear energy and other microwave equipment. Erbium also nuclear energy, fiber optic communications, and glass coloring. Thulium, small use is there, X-rays and lasers. Ytterbium, cancer treatment and stainless steel. Now, if we go by the end-use category, there are broadly 8 major categories only we can categorize a mixture of rare earths or individual rare earths. This is how worldwide rare earth market categorizes the end use by 8 categories. The first one and predominant one is permanent magnet. There the main rare earth used are neodymium, praseodymium, samarium, terbium, and dysprosium. It goes into permanent magnets. And glass polishing and additives, mainly cerium, lanthanum, and a small quantity of Nd and erbium. Mainly cerium is used for polishing the glass, hard disk drive, wherever glass is there. This is used. That is coming under the glass polishing. And next comes predominant categories, battery alloys, a combination of lanthanum, cerium, praseodymium, and neodymium. They are used. Mainly they are used in NiMH batteries. The next category is catalyst. It falls into fluid cracking catalyst as well as catalytic converter. Mainly cerium and lanthanum are used in this area. Then ceramics, pigments, and glazes. There, some of the rare earths are used, and many mixture of rare earths also are being used. Then comes the last category. Before that, metallurgy and alloys also. There, the mixture of all mainly light rare earth metals are used in the niche metal category. And phosphors, as I was telling you, europium predominantly is used. Then yttrium is the major share, and some combination of lanthanum, cerium, and other rare earths are used in very small quantity. Then we have other category. Other category includes medicine, agriculture, etc. Now, one invention which I was telling out of I'm sorry, I have skipped 2 slides. Yeah, the first invention of this rare earths, a successful application of rare earths started, which addressed an emergent problem to maintain and continue the production after dark in the northern Europe, where electricity grid was not in full swing. They were struggling to find some light source, and that led to because in the northern Europe during long winter nights, they wanted to continue the production even in the night. And therefore, necessity is the mother of invention. In that approach, Welsbach invented this gas mantle during 1880s, and that inaugurated the first phase of industrial use of mixed rare earths. That is thorium and cerium they used. But this first invention engendered the second, that is, gas mantles were difficult to ignite. And therefore, the large quantity of rare earth waste, that is, thorium and cerium, went for this gas mantle. The balance were left, and therefore they mixed with 30% of iron. An alloy was developed, and that is known as mish metal. When it is sparked, it gets sparked when it's stuck. And the same scientist patented it as Flintstone, and till now we are using the same. And some more developments happened after that. During World War I also, pyrophoric properties of rare earths were used in fuses and explosives during 1914 and 1918, the first World War period. Even Soviet Union experimented with nickel-based rare earth alloys beginning in World War II, that is 1939 to 1945. And during early 1960s, lanthanum in optical glass industry and cerium in glass polishing industry started. Petroleum industry started using rare earth as petroleum cracking catalyst in 1964. In 1965, the development of a new phosphor, europium yttrium, allowed the first true red color televisions. In 1970, samarium became a key ingredient for a supermagnet, that is samarium cobalt magnet. And another big development is in 1982, a major development happened in the history of rare earths. One of the scientists was in a conference, he was telling that he found some unusual characteristics in lanthanum, terbium, and iron boron mixture. The audience consisted scientists from General Motors and Hitachi. They immediately went back to their laboratory and they came out with the same. They found this NdFeB, neodymium iron boron magnet, which has got superior permanent magnetic properties. Both these companies, General Motors as well as Hitachi, filed patent applications simultaneously, and therefore that consequently resulted in battle. And ultimately, both the companies had to go for a compromise. Hitachi Metal agreed to take a sintered magnet route, and General Motors agreed to take a rapidly solidified patent route. And there again, a small story is that General Motors needed rare earth magnets for their vehicles. And in 1986, they started a Magna-Quench. The company name is Magna-Quench. And they established this company. But in 1995, Chinese groups joined to acquire this Magna-Quench company. US government ultimately had to intervene. And they put up one condition that China should maintain this factory, retain the factory for 5 years. Exactly at the end or expiry of that 5th year period, the factory disappeared from America and it moved to China. And today, more than 250 manufacturing industries are there in China for this ND magnet. Still now, Americans are feeling sorry for that. And now we'll come back to the same mobile. When we look at the vibrator magnets on the left side, in the vibrator magnet, we have neodymium, praseodymium, terbium, dysprosium, followed by that vibrator. If we look at the color screen contains europium, yttrium, terbium, lanthanum, dysprosium, praseodymium, and gadolinium. And in the same, it is subjected to glass polishing. The glass polishing rare earths used are cerium, lanthanum, and praseodymium. When it comes to circuit board electronics, neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium, lanthanum, and gadolinium are there. Again, at the bottom, we have another speaker. There also the same magnetic materials are there. Virtually, these rare earths are peppered throughout our phone. When it is compared to traditional ferrite magnets and the rare earth permanent magnets, on the left side, you can see, compared to ferrite magnets, rare earth magnets are 10 times the performance of the ferrite magnets. And the right side diagram will show typical composition of a neodymium magnet. That is, neodymium is only 29%, either a combination of neodymium and praseodymium or neodymium alone. And the iron is 66% by weight. Dysprosium, 1 to 3%, depending on their formula they will be adding. And boron is there again, 1%. And these rare earth magnets it can be manufactured as small as 1 mm diameter by 1 mm thick, right up to an 80 mm diameter by 65 mm thick magnet capable of lifting even 150 kg. When you look at the applications, grams to ton, all electronic devices that uses only in grams. I think Govindhan Kuti sir was also touching the same point. And when it comes to hybrid and electric vehicles, or direct drives and electric assist motors, then the rare earth uses is in kilograms. When it comes to wind turbines, then it is in metric tons. Just it is a self-explanatory hard disk drive and electric bicycle. In a hard disk drive in our computer, we have the portions are marked as A and B. A is a spindle motor and B is a voice coil that contain rare earth magnets. And electric bicycle, approximately 300 to 350 gram of ND magnets is used in electric vehicle, that is e-bike. If you look at the electronics sector alone, what are the rare earths where they are using? On the left side, I start with the screen. Europium, terbium, phosphor. And the bottom, optical lenses, lanthanum, cerium is used. Then hard disk drive, previous slide, we were seeing that. ND magnet is there in the spindle, ND magnet in voice coil motor, then glass substrate, and the speakers also, ND magnets are there, and integrated circuit on the top. Ultra high purity cerium polishes the silicon wafer. And this is a typical picture of the left side is maglev, that is magnetic levitation train, where these rare earth magnets are used. At the right side, NASA Jet Propulsion Lab uses rare earth magnets for each of the Mars exploration rover, and neodymium magnets are used. There are three indications, 1, 2, 3. These are sent to space to collect dust from the surface of Mars. When we look at the wind energy, many publications are there. Minimum 160 kg onwards is required per megawatt of energy, windmill. So this picture which I have shown is showing 200 kg. 160 kg onwards, this is per megawatt of windmill. When you come to the glass polishing, cerium oxide is the main polishing powder, and it is used everywhere. It is very efficient polishing compound as it removes glass by both its chemical dissolution and by mechanical abrasion. When it comes to RE in glass, cerium is playing as a UV blocker in auto glass to reduce the damage to the passengers, interior plastics, and to reduce air conditioning energy consumption. Lanthanum again is used in optical glass, mainly in digital camera, where high refraction and low scattering is required, resulting in smaller, lighter, yet more optically powerful camera. Small quantity of neodymium also is being used in this glass industry. In decolorization also, major use of cerium is in that same decolorization. That is, all of you may be aware that one common impurity, that is iron, particularly in the raw material for glass manufacturing, silica sand, that can cause problems. That is, it will, at the bottom, it will show a small blue greenish tinge. And glass can be decolorized if the total iron content cannot be changed by keeping iron in the Fe3 plus state by addition of cerium. When we look at a typical rare earth elements in the Toyota Prius car, everywhere rare earths are there. I will start from the left side, LCD screen. Phosphors are there, that is europium, yttrium, cerium. And down, component sensor, yttrium is used. Then again down, hybrid electric motor generator, where all magnetic materials are there. And then again, this side, right side, headlight glass, neodymium is there. Plus 25 plus electric motors are there in this particular car, where all are rare earth magnet, that is neodymium magnet. And then moving to the catalytic converter, where cerium and lanthanum are to be used. Then coming to the battery area, lanthanum and cerium is used as a mesh metal there. And diesel fuel additive, that is also playing a major role in cerium and lanthanum. Then UV cut glass, again cerium. We'll move on to FCC, that is fluid cracking catalyst. Zeolite-based fluid cracking catalysts are used in almost all refineries in the crude oil cracking. And there, lanthanum accounts for between 60% to 99% of volume of rare earths, depending on the manufacturers, with the balance made up of cerium. Almost, there are publications, 0.216 kg of fluid cracking catalyst per barrel, that is 159 liter of crude oil is used. There, rare earth catalyst varies between 1.5 and 5% by weight. When it comes to automatic catalytic converters, they transform the primary pollutants in the engine, exhaust gases, into non-toxic compounds. These RE coatings on the catalyst surface play a very critical role in the chemical reactions within this catalytic converter. That means, if I look at the picture, hydrocarbon, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, all these harmful elements are entering into the catalytic converter chamber, and the output is water, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. Again, rare earths in ceramics and colors. Cerium sulfate pigments are more eco-friendly, unlike other heavy metals pigments like cadmium. In the developed Western countries, in order to create red color or orange color in the plastic industry, they used to use cadmium sulfide, and they have already banned. Long back they have banned. But in India, we are yet to ban that. So in that place, cerium sulfide gives the same red color, orange color in plastic industry and which is eco-friendly also. And some of the rare earths are used for